Can you hear me, Sudha?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
How about me? You can hear me?
Slightly low, sir, your volume is.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
One participant has come.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, I have one question. In one of the assignment, it was written that the CO can be 0. So how can you say a CO is 0?
Where exactly is presented as CO as 0?
There was one assignment which I was giving. The question was that can a CO has a numbers equal to 0?
No.
So I answered no, it cannot be 0. So it was marked as wrong answer. So my question is, how can you say a CO is 0? Or maybe I'm not able to understand the question.
Can you verbatim repeat the question?
The question was that can a CO has
CO.
a value, yes, course outcome has
Yeah.
a value is equal to 0.
No.
It will not be just a CO, no? It has to be something like attainment of a CO or target of a CO, something like that. Just we cannot say CO. I don't think question is exactly like that.
Maybe I'm not remembering. It was, I think, in third or fourth. So I didn't got that question. So that's why I'm asking you. Just give me 5 minutes. If I can check if I have that written at somewhere, I will just call you back.
Please, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello. So this is Gurraj from NPTL. So we can start the session, sir. Yeah, we have started already. But officially we can start now, sir.
Okay.
So you can go. There was a question in the, what do you call,
That is it.
not in the chat, in the question bank there. I mean, for them, there we have sent whatever you query, you can put it. There they have just mentioned CO attainment levels. It is Dr. Iranna Urchan. He or she has asked CO attainment levels. There was no elaborated, no other text in this, only CO attainment levels.
Yeah, but what is the question? CO attainment levels
This is
regarding that? What is the question?
just this much was there. You can see the screen.
Yeah, I can see the screen, but the question is not clear.
Yeah.
Regarding CO attainment levels, what is the doubt or what is the query? How this should be set, or what are the ways of computing it, or what is the actual question regarding the CO attainment levels?
Yeah, that I think that person, Dr. Iranna, only has to mention. He has it to come to the logged. He is not yet logged in yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll answer something about it. Say something about it, not answer. And let's wait if there are any more queries.
Guidelines for innovative practice methods. Active learning method is one of the innovative practices for instruction. There can be many, and many of them are innovative because in the traditional classroom setting, they are not being practiced earlier. So active learning is one of them. You can also have collaborative learning. You can also have peer learning. Several ways of innovative ways of bringing in the required levels of learning by the students, the learners. So active learning is one of the methods. There are many other methods. They all come under innovative practices. It depends upon the outcome that you have in mind, as well as the course content that is being discussed. And based on that, to facilitate learning, whatever you think are the best methods, you should adopt. I hope that answers your question. Sir, you would like to add anything?
Nothing. See, in every instruction method, first of all, active learning methods mean that students are participating, they're doing something while learning. And in that, there can be endless variations the way the students engage with the knowledge and how they interact among one another. And what is the task that the teacher sets up for them to work on. So within all this, you can create endless variations. So it depends on the context, resources that you have, and the nature of the subject matter. It will all depend on that.
When do we call a method as innovative? There is no such thing as any clear definition. But the idea is that the traditional sage on the stage, that is teacher simply talking in the classroom, either using the blackboard or a whiteboard or a slideshow, but just simply one way teacher talking in the classroom and all the students silently listening to them is a traditional mode. Now, any other kind of change you bring in order to facilitate learning can be called as innovative, though some of the so-called innovative practices have become now more or less standard. But still, the idea is that can we move away from the traditional one-way transmission of information to a method which is more conducive for learning by the students. That is the idea. There is no hard and fast definition. It's more of a judgment.
Thank you so much for the clarification, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, there is one more question. How we set a single value? No. There are two questions. How the outcome-based question paper should be. Okay, let me try to answer this. If you have understood how the outcome statement has to be written, it consists of an action word and some set of knowledge elements, possibly some conditions and criteria. Okay, that's how a course outcome is written. Now, when the action verb also represents a particular cognitive level. It can be understand, or it can be remember, or it can be apply, or sometimes even higher cognitive levels. So, strictly speaking, if you want to find out whether the student has been able to attain that course outcome, the assessment items or the questions should belong to the same cognitive level at which the outcome has been written. That means if it is apply, you're asking him to solve a problem, either by way of computing or determining something, or even drawing something as a result of the solving the problem. Sometimes you will also ask questions which are at slightly lower cognitive level as well. So a question paper can, the outcome-based question paper means the questions that you are asking should be predominantly in alignment with the cognitive process at which this outcome has been written. That is broadly the way question paper has to be designed. And you can make some concessions for that, but by and large, a large percentage of questions should be set at the cognitive level at which the CO is written. Now, what happens is a course may have, course will have multiple course outcomes. Each course outcome may be at a different cognitive level. So your distribution of questions in the question paper should also be arranged accordingly. And that's what we have presented as a sample also in the module 2. I don't know whether that actually answers your question.
Can I add something, sir?
Yeah, please.
Another point, as sir has mentioned, is that the COs which are there all must be addressed. That means your questions must address all the COs. And if you are giving a choice in the question,
Lost your voice.
all the students can leave out answering one particular question, then you may not get any response regarding that particular CO. So you must be careful to ensure that the question paper is such that first all the COs are addressed. 2, the choice does not prevent response to a particular CO from being absent. And 3, as sir has mentioned, to ensure that by and large the cognitive process level associated with the question is at the same level as the cognitive process of the outcome, though occasionally some concession can be given, as sir has mentioned. If the CO is at apply level, you may have some marks allocated even to understand level. But broadly, by and large, it should be at the same level. These are the kind of things that you should have for a question paper.
Yeah, the next question is, can we set a single value as a target for all COs of a course? One can do, But generally, if you look at COs of any course, you will have some are difficult, some are relatively easy in terms of either in terms of the scope of the content or the kind of difficulty that is associated with that. Most of the time, COs will not be of the same difficulty level. If I have, let's say, 7 COs in a course, it will be somewhat difficult to set the same target for all of them. But theoretically, yes, you can set the same target for all, provided you can give some kind of a justification.
Sudha, there are some questions earlier. I think you have to go back. Can we set a single value as target for all the COs of a course? Is it correct to write a psychomotor domain outcome for a theory course? There are earlier questions. Yeah, fine. That is the query 5. Yes, in principle, you can set the same value as target for all COs of a course if you wish. Though that is not quite common, but in principle, there is nothing against it. You can set. So the next question is about psychomotor domain, sir.
Yeah, let me try to answer that. Is it correct to write a psychomotor domain outcome for a theory course? It can be written provided you can measure it, and it's a part normally somewhat. Even the language part is also considered under psychomotor domain. But if you keep that aside, psychomotor domain will look at activities, courses like painting, theater, physical education, dance, music, all of them. They require high-level psychomotor skills. Now, in a pure theory course, you have to be clear. In principle, it can be written, provided you can articulate precisely what you have in mind and you have a way of measuring. I don't know whether that answers your question.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, please.
So I just asked you a question. My question was, there was an assignment. The question was, all COs of a course should have a number of classroom sessions.
Yeah.
And I just put it true because
The classroom
going for a
section,
CO, must be some classrooms. Yes, but the answer came out to be false. So I could not understand that how a CO can be without a classroom session.
no. Can you? I need to be clear about what the question that you're asking.
Question was in assignment 4. Question was, all COs of a course should have the number of classroom sessions.
The same number, possibly.
But it is not written. The question is, all COs of a course should have the number of classroom sessions.
No, in that case, there is something wrong. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah. It was in week 4, assignment 4.
Fourth assignment.
Yeah, sir.
We noted. So
Right,
we'll
sir.
go back and check.
Right, sir.
It is possible that a CO can have 0 number of theory sessions, but there could be lab sessions. There could be tutorial sessions. So if it is indicated that all the sessions are 0, it's unlikely to be correct. But it's not necessary that every CO should have only theory sessions. There could be only laboratory sessions or tutorial plus laboratory sessions. It depends upon the CO.
Okay.
So perhaps that is the intended one, but as Sarai said, we would like to check once again. But in principle, it is possible to have a CO for which there are no theory sessions allocated at all. We could have only tutorial and laboratory sessions.
Yeah.
Tutorial and field sessions. Like that, it is possible.
Okay.
However, thank you for bringing it out to notice. We will cross-check once again. And
no issues. I just got confused with the classroom session. You may be right that it must be something like lab session, field work, and all those things. If it is, then it may be true, but that's why I asked you the question. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
We will address that.
Right, sir. Thank you.
is it compulsory to give Sudha, can you project the
So this was the question which was which
all
the
COs of a course should have? The question is wrongly presented.
Yeah.
Should have the same number of classroom sessions. Okay.
Right,
Is
sir.
the statement true or false? The statement is false. That's all.
Right, sir.
Answer is false. I think that is missing. Same number of classroom sessions.
Okay, sir. Thank you
That
for
was
the clarification.
Sorry for that.
No issues, sir. I just need a clarification, sir. That's why I asked you question.
Is it compulsory to give scenario for all questions in outcome-based question paper? Is it compulsory to give scenario for all questions in outcome-based question paper?
What do you mean by saying give scenario? I'm not very sure, sir. What is the meaning of it? Give a scenario means what? Do you mean a case study or something? A situation to solve the problem. Okay, that's what you mean. It's a kind of a case study. It depends upon the CO, no? If the CO is at an apply level, obviously you must ask a question which matches that level. So that might require a kind of a case study sometimes, but sometimes it need not be that. But if the CO is at understand level, obviously the question can be slightly different. Sir, you would like to elaborate? Yeah,
but what happens is generally in the first 3 levels of cognition, the scenario doesn't play that kind of role. Like you are describing, let's say a set of variables, independent variables, and you try to give some values to them, and then you are asking the student to find out what is the unknown variable. Or you are asking him to explain something. So the scenario doesn't really come in that kind of questions. But if you go to higher levels like analysis, evaluate, create, then you have to describe the entire context related to the problem. And in that statement, some of the elements may be more important than the other. Out of all that, the student has to understand or be clear about what is important, what is not important to solve the problem. But that kind of issues will come predominantly in terms of your projects, mini projects or major projects. But otherwise, if it is mainly engineering type of courses, we haven't seen many question papers where you write elaborate scenarios.
In fact, you yourself have given an example. Mathematics, many questions have no scenarios. Directly frame a question and they're supposed to use a certain method or one of the known methods to solve a particular problem. So it is fine. There is nothing wrong with that. There are some earlier questions, Sudha, not this one.
you have answered these.
No, not that. Is a CO-PO mapping tabular column for a theory course. We used to map out CO with first DO. And also one Professor Palar has written, he has not got answer to his query. I don't know which is the question.
Okay.
Sir, can you ask? Good afternoon to all of you, sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I am Professor Palai from Bhubaneswar, Odisha.
Yeah, please.
Yes, good afternoon. Sir, actually, can we set the target value for PO using the CO target and the CO-PO matrix?
The target value for a PO is not set based on CO-PO mapping or CO target values. Because
Yes,
PO you are talking of for the entire program of 4 years.
Sure.
So obviously what you have to do is you have to use the historical background of the institute, your own cohorts of students and the facilities that you have, your own constraints. Based on that, you must set a target which is reasonable, and then hope to achieve them through the courses as well as the co-curricular, extracurricular activities. The target setting for PO and PSO happens much before the CO-PO mapping or CO target levels. So that is a much higher abstraction level. And so that is a slightly different kind of an activity. I think sir would like to add something more to that.
Okay. As far as POs are concerned, let us take one of the POs related to ethics. Okay, there is one PO
Sure.
related to ethics.
Sure.
Now, what kind of target do I put? For example, compared to the first 5 POs, the courses that address the ethical dimension of engineering will be somewhat less.
Sure.
There can be one course, or it may be briefly mentioned in some courses. So obviously, you cannot put very high level target. Let's say the target we can normalize, and let us say either call it 100% or just 1. It can be any way you can do that. If I'm putting for PO1 a target of 0.8, for example,
Sure.
for the PO related to ethics, I cannot put something like 0.8 because I'm not doing that many courses on ethics to put a high level target. So it doesn't matter. Even if you put it as 0.2 or 0.1 also doesn't matter, as long as you're able to demonstrate that you're attaining the target and you're making efforts to continuously improve from batch to batch. That is the spirit of
So,
accreditation.
okay, so, correct. Sir, actually, so my point is, maybe incorrect, sir. We are determining the attainment value of PO through CO attainment and the matrix.
Yes.
So
Yes.
similarly, sir, can we suppose I will be setting target my CO only, then I will be using the matrix, my target value of CO I have, my matrix I have, then I will be making a correlate like a attainment value computation. Similarly, can you set the target value of PO, sir?
That is what we are saying, sir. It's very difficult because over a 4-year period, there will be several courses with several different COs, with several different mapping strength getting mapped to the PO.
Sir.
Trying to aggregate all of this for a single PO would be really not a feasible mechanism. And also, and also it becomes very messy, the whole affair. Okay, because basically what happens over 4-year period, if you see, the number of courses, the number of co-curricular, extracurricular activities, the project work which get related to a particular PO would be phenomenally large. So normally we set the POs based on our historical perception, the past history of the institute and our own constraints as well as judgment.
Yes, sir.
That is how we do it. Okay, where that is in a kind of a top-down design process. That is, we start with vision mission of the institute, then vision mission of the department, then PO, PSO target setting. So that is how we go. Whereas when we are trying to compute the attainment, it is bottom up. we compute the
Oh,
CO
yes,
attainment and
yes,
thereby we
yes, sir.
compute PO attainment like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got it. I got it. Got it. Yeah. One is a top-down, other is a bottom-up approach. We will be considering to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sir, another thing is, sir, can we determine, can we compute the attainment of mission of my institute?
Actually,
Sir,
you are
sir,
not supposed
sir,
to, you are not supposed to compute, but you are supposed to assess.
Sorry. Yeah.
In the sense that it may not be always a number, but it may be more of a qualitative judgment. Because
Exactly.
once in at least some 7-8 years, you have to see whether you are on the right path, whether the trajectory is really towards realizing the vision and mission, or whether you need to do some corrections. But that will happen over a much longer time spans, and that will be more of a qualitative assessment.
Sir, is it possible to assess?
Yes, sir, certainly. To what extent, because these are all correlated. See, from vision and mission of the institute, we are deriving the vision mission of the department. From that, we are determining the POs and all. So in a way, the bottom up, when we compute all the attainments, they do give an idea of where we are going towards the vision and the mission. Qualitatively, I'm saying. Numbers you cannot get certainly, but qualitatively we can judge. And perhaps a panel has to do some brainstorming to see where we are on the growth trajectory towards attaining the vision. So certainly you need to have something like that. And that based on that, normally you prepare what you can call as the institutional strategic development plan, which will be for a period of a decade or something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you need to do that. But it's easier said than done, we agree, and numbers will not come, but yes, certainly you can qualitatively assess the path.
Sir, last question, sir. Sir, can you tell, sir, can I tell the mission is a function of the PEO, Program Educational Objectives, a direct and indirect process, and program educational objective is a function of program outcomes, direct and indirect process, whatever may be. And program outcomes is a function of CUs, direct or indirect or whatever may be. Is it possible? Can I tell like that? Is it possible, sir?
Shall I address that?
Mission wise, first thing is mission is a way to achieve your vision. So mission is closely related to actually the vision.
Sir.
And the mission and POs obviously are related to each other.
Sir.
Okay, it's not function one way. It is mutual.
Mutual. Okay.
Sir, I think would like to add there, because every mission statement must have some kind of meaning to the PEOs, and every PEO must be backed up by some element of the mission statement. So it's a kind of a mutual backward tracing.
Okay, sir.
But I think sir would like to add something to that. I think it's.
Let me put it this way. Your mission, you put a statement saying that the department will interact with the industry or develop close relationship with the industry to work on real world problems. Something like that. You have a mission like that.
Sir.
It is possible to kind of measure that kind of attainment. For example, you have an MBA accreditation. What are the projects that you are doing? You are getting sponsored from the industry, or what are the initiatives that you have taken to interact with the industry? Over a period of time, if you create a record, then you can actually look at to what extent your mission has been attained. If your mission is not attained, then you have to review and say, should we keep that really as a mission? And you can suitably modify that. Coming to the PEO and mission, it is necessary to actually create a PEO mission matrix.
Yes,
so
sir. Yes.
The very fact that it is being asked that they need to be strongly correlated. Okay.
Sure.
Whereas right now, NBA doesn't ask you to measure the attainment of PEOs. They ask you to write PEOs, and the mission and PEO should be correlated with one another, but they are not insisting on measuring the attainment of PEOs because the market scenario is not completely in our hands, especially with so-called core programs like civil engineering, mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineer, sir.
Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Yes,
Though
sir. I got-
NBA manual itself does not specifically ask for attainment of PO, some committees are asking actually that one.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So, yeah. So you need to probably compute that, though it does not say so in the manual. So perhaps you can do for your own thing. Okay, that is the scenario.
Sir, yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
For a theory course, we used to map our COs with the first pair POs depending upon the course nature. Is it correct to map a theory course CO with PO5 to PO12? Kindly give us a thumb rule to map. As Sarah has already mentioned, generally many of the traditional engineering courses have course outcomes which are not really that strongly correlated to the other POs, that is PO 6 onwards. It's very difficult to find mapping unless you take special care to introduce some activities in the course which allow you to show the mapping. That is, unless your instruction design is such that in discussing the CO, certain elements of that PO are also addressed. So it is very difficult, as you rightly said, to map a CO with PO6 onwards. PO5 should not be that difficult because many times you do use modern tools in your many theory courses also. But PO6 to PO12, they are difficult certainly. So one thing is, as in fact, Saras mentioned in one of his presentations, you can design the instruction in such a way that while you are addressing some COs, the relevant issues are brought in to address some other POs also. Otherwise, it is difficult.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
How lab courses can be mapped for design thinking classes. NEP is giving a lot of importance for education leading to entrepreneurship and design thinking in engineering. Lab courses, first of all, if you are from affiliated college, most of the laboratory experiments are predetermined by the university. You can only, over and above those experiments, you can introduce slightly open-ended experiments. That first thing is that, do you have scope for introducing any open-ended experiments? Then after that, if you have scope, then you have to design your experiments in such a way that some design thinking can be built into that. Okay? And it will take considerable effort on the part of the instructors to effectively implement that. First of all, anything that is related to design, it admits multiple correct solutions. Now, can you tolerate, in terms of evaluation of the performance of the students, can you tolerate multiple correct solutions? Are we willing to do that? It requires some additional effort to truly encourage design thinking in laboratory. Okay, but it can be done through the projects though. And on top of that, you are talking about NEP giving a lot of importance for education leading to entrepreneurship and design thinking in engineering. See, all this will require, first of all, everyone cannot be trained to be an entrepreneur. Generally, it is known something like in a given population, about 10% are entrepreneurial in their thinking. So that itself cannot be target for all students in a class, entrepreneurship. Design thinking, yes. It also requires a little bit of redesigning the curriculum to introduce in a formal course something related to design thinking. Then incorporate. Maybe Professor Rajnikant can elaborate a little more.
Yes, sir. What you said covers more or less everything. As sir is saying, if we can have certain laboratory experiments which are slightly open-ended, which allows the students to experiment and see what would be the consequences of certain decisions and what would be the other effects like efficiency and all, which they need to take into account, and where the solution is not all that clear and it need not be unique. So that kind of a experiential learning, if you can design for the students, if you have that freedom, yes, you can have a laboratory courses mapped for design thinking classes. So, but in a traditional mode, if you give just a set of fixed problems like 10 or 12, all of which have unique solutions, and the students work on only those 12 problems, then it's very unlikely that you will be able to successfully map the course outcomes to design thinking. So if you have certain freedom, design your experiments with certain open-endedness, with certain flexibility in the decisions that they can arrive at, and with certain opportunity given for a variety of outcomes to happen. So then certainly it will help in design thinking, divergent thinking, so-called divergent thinking, and you can map the COs to design thinking activities and the related POs.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you for insights into the Professor Rajnikant and Professor Rao. We are actually autonomous college. So we introduced this topic of design thinking and entrepreneurship. Currently, I am managing through assignments, couple of assignments I give, where I'm accepting different solutions for that particular problem statement. So more or less what you suggested is currently I'm able to conceive that.
Wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank
in fact, we can bring in certain experimental part also to that, where they can do few things in the laboratory because you're autonomous. That would be great. If you could add to the assignment certain activity in the laboratory, it would be still a stronger kind of achievement of the design thinking. Okay.
Yes, sir. Ideation workshops, we want to
Yes.
add to that. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank
And
you,
in
sir.
fact, you can hold the entrepreneurship kind of programs also, where from idea to product kind of workshops you can hold. And how do you take ideation to the product stage you can hold for a large number of students. And they also would help towards the entrepreneurial activities. And your entrepreneur development cell, EDC, can have a well-defined policy for promoting this kind of thinking among the interested students. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. What about NBA prerequisites regarding management school point of view? Unfortunately, the NBA for the management degrees, that is MBA essentially, has not gone through as many revisions as the engineering kind of manuals. And the NBA manual for MBA is quite different. Their criteria are different, their weightages are different, and the emphasis given for tier 1 and tier 2, they are all different. So I am not very sure whether we can really address those issues here now. Sir, would you like to add? I'm saying it's very difficult to discuss the management education in this kind of a limited session because it is so different. Its prerequisites, its criteria, its weightages, they are all different from engineering programs. We could discuss that, but perhaps it will take much more time because the prerequisites as well as the criteria are all completely different. So would you like to qualify further, sir?
NBA prerequisites regarding management school point of view. What do you call the criteria? First of all, management programs are postgraduate programs. Okay. So the POs are completely different, and we don't have what is called the PSOs. So presentation of all that and giving examples in that is very different from that of engineering. We do have a separate workshop our management faculty.
Even criteria for tier 1, for example, the kind of interactions you have with industry, with industries from abroad, they all have different kinds of ways of looking at the achievement of the department. So it's quite a different proposition altogether to discuss that.
Any further questions, please? Yes. Okay, if there are no further questions, we are very happy to interact with you and answer your question. We also thank for pointing out the error in one of the assignments. We'll correct that. We'll try to make sure that such errors do not occur.
Thank you, sir.
And we are happy that we were able to listen to many of you. And thank you very much for active participation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for organizing this interactive section. We are very indebtful to you.
Yeah, we'll be having one more before the course closes.
Thank you, sir. It will be really helpful for us.
Thank you. Thank you for your interaction.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We can close now.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Rajinikanth.